What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's Professor Anime. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, guys, I am here to bring you all my review of Berserk Volume 15. So let's get right into it. So with this volume of Berserk, we start to begin to see a change in Guts' personality. Now, it's not the fact that, he is completely doing a 360 with his character, but we have it to where Guts literally seems like he is a demon himself. Now, with the past stuff that Guts has gone through, being born from a corpse, being going through the eclipse, all the dark stuff that he has gone through, Guts has gone on to push on life forward, and he found meaning in the band of the Hawk, as he found friends and family and even his lover. But after the eclipse and everything, after all of that, this completely traumatized Guts, and we start to see, from these past volumes of Berserk, volumes 13, 14, and 15, we start to see that Guts is now changing as a whole, as a person, more so like a demon and less than a human. One scene within this volume of Berserk to where we see Guts almost cut down Jill against the Queen Elf, because apparently the Queen Elf has a special connection to Jill, which I will get to in a bit, but Guts almost cuts through Jill and the Queen Elf, and the reason why he almost ended up doing this was because he completely disregarded Jill was there at the moment. He doesn't really care if he has to cut through a person in order to cut down a demon, especially one who he had just met, because from the events in the eclipse, Guts ended up making that declaration that, you have, made a grave mistake. You should have killed me. So because of this, I'm gonna now hunt down every single last of you demons in order to get my revenge on what you have done to me as a person. And this is where we see, Guts almost end up cutting Jill in the process of trying to cut down the Queen Elf. However, he ends up holding back and only manages to cut down the Queen Elf's wing. Just a part of it, at least. But we really see that, Guts' mentality has become altered in a sense because of the events that he has gone through in the eclipse, and also the dark life that he has had ever since he was born. So it really begs the question, how far is Guts going to go before he is in the situation to where he just doesn't care anymore, or something completely takes over him to the point where he just completely slaughters every little thing, because Guts is necessarily becoming more of a demon rather than a person. Right at the end of this volume, we have it to where Jill even mentions Guts for an instant, swaying inside the blaze. He was the one who looked more terrifying, more like a terrifying monster to me. Jill is saying this compared to all of the things that she has seen, especially where we saw that weird, freaky scene with the little fairies, playing army. That shit actually freaking, made me go on the edge. I was like, what the hell is going on with this, dude? It's just crazy, but yeah, what is going to happen to Guts? How far is he gonna go before, he might not be able to hold back anymore? We even have some of the demons criticizing Guts that, he is a monster. He is not human. He's more demon-like than demons. We also come out to find this volume of Berserk that Jill had some sort of connection with a childhood friend named Rosine. We get a little backstory between them, and she would basically talk about this girl, Rosine, who was a little bit odd in the sense of a girl's perspective. She was more of a tomboyish type of character, or type of person, I should say, and basically she ended up having this weird habit to where she would collect items that she stumbled across across in her day-to-day activity, and one of these items happens to be a behelit, and we all know how exactly that ends up going about because from the effects that we have seen with Griffith and his behelit. And when she ends up stumbling across this behelit, she thinks to herself, you know what, I wish adults would never become a thing. You know, I really do not like my parents. I don't like grown-ups in general. I just want to be a free-spirited child. And the behelit granted this. However, you need a sacrifice in order to get what you want, and it is speculated, it is not yet confirmed, but it is speculated by Guts that Rosine killed her parents in order to become to what she is today, and that is what we come to find out in this volume, that Rosine is actually the Queen Elf. Now, we also get some more backstory with Rosine. We see that she was very fond of a fairy tale story called The Story of Picaf. What was this story about? It was basically about a little boy who lived in a village filled with humans. Him himself is included as a human. However, he has the appearance of a elf, the face of a elf, which is very odd, and you know, he was made fun of the town's children because of this, and he just simply couldn't believe that because of his appearance that this was his home. He couldn't even believe that his parents were his true parents. So what does he do? He ends up going out one night into the forest and ends up finding some elves and asks them, are you my real family? Do I really belong with you? And one of the elves ends up replying to Picaf that at one given point in time, there were two humans that came to the forest of the elves and for guidance, asking if they could help out, you know, revive their son because their baby was dying of a illness, and the only way they could have actually saved this kid was in fact with the elves' help. And so the elves ended up healing this baby. However, it had some sort of side effect into which the baby now had the appearance of a elf. And basically, this was how Picaf became to who he is today. He is in fact human, however, he is basically, you know, part elf at the same time. So, realizing this, he ends up going back to his village, and it already ended up turning like 100 years or so into the future, which was very odd. So basically, everybody who he knew at the village at a given point in time have now died. So we come to find out by the end of that little story that Rosine was actually very fond of this story, and if anything, Rosine even stated herself that you know, the story resembled her in a lot of ways. So it makes me want to think that, you know, basically from what I got out of this story is that Rosine was very fond of this fairy tale, and the reason on who exactly she ended up becoming who she is today, the Queen Elf, what we know of this volume of Berserk, is that she was very fond of a fairy tale, and she wanted to live in a fairy tale in which, you know, she didn't have to deal with grown-ups, not at all, and completely just, you know, run free as a little child. And the Queen Elf, you know, she as the Queen Elf is simply a child in an elf's body. You know, she has no maturity to her whatsoever. She is very childlike. So if anything, Rosine wanted to become, you know, this sort of godlike creature that can live for eternity, you know, as a elf, just because she ended up wanting to live the like the stories, like a fairy tale. So yeah, a lot of great stuff with this volume. We're not officially done with the Misty Valley elf arc yet. However, it seems like we are drawing to a close by this arc in the next volume of Berserk, Volume 16. There were also a few notable stuff within this volume as well, to where we see Guts, you know, about to get some sleep. He makes his own campfire, and he ends up being, confronting his child, his cursed child. And basically this cursed child ended up summoning these children, these elf children that Guts killed off previously, and now Guts is pretty much, you know, staying up all night, you know, killing these children, which is going to torment him even more. So we had it to that part. That was an insane part, but probably the most insane part, which I ended up seeing within this volume of Berserk, is to where we see Jill and Puck, you know, just witnessing the slaughter that goes on with the fairies, how they're all playing war and everything, which is basically symbolizing that, you know, humans do this, because there was actually a couple of them that said, you know, let's play as adults. Adults are very evil. They tend to do this a lot. And just the slaughter that goes on with these elves and what they do with one another, like that, it scared the living shit out of me. Just the artwork in that scene was just so freaking disturbing and so creepy. I literally had to put down the volume just a little bit, and I'm just like, oh my god, there's no way that this series can get any darker. I already witnessed the eclipse. I'm seeing little freaking elves kill each other off, and I'm probably end up going to stumble across some more dark territory when it comes to this series. But I'm prepared. I'm prepared. It's just, you know, sometimes you need a little break and just cast aside the volume for a while. The last thing that is worth mentioning within this volume of Berserk is that we have this group that is following the Black Swordsman, Guts in this case, known as the Holy Iron Chain Knights. Apparently they were summoned by the Holy See. We really don't know too much about what the Holy See is, and we don't really know too much about the Holy Knights either and why they are following the Black Swordsman. But what we do know is that the Holy Iron Chain Knights, at least from volume 14 of Berserk, they know about the whole eclipse because from a prophecy that they heard about, probably from the Holy See. So what exactly they want with the Black Swordsman, you know, Guts, you know, I don't really know what is their true overall motive. However, they did speak about something about religion, and maybe they see Guts as the sort of savior that will end up, you know, purging the God Hand, the members of the God Hand, including Griffith. So I don't really know too much about the Holy See, and I don't really know too much about the Holy Iron Chain Knights, but hopefully, you know, later down the volumes of Berserk, you know, more will be explained on that. As always, this was a very fantastic volume of Berserk, volume 16, you know, it was just so good, you know, learning more about the Berserk universe after the eclipse has just been awesome for me, you know, just getting more acquainted with more volumes of Berserk, and, you know, just in general, the greatness of the series just never ceases to amaze me. It really doesn't. So I just took off the wrappings right here for volume 16 of Berserk. So we will be getting into volume 16 within the next volume review of this series, and I cannot wait to read this as soon as possible. So hopefully in volume 16 of Berserk, we'll probably end up seeing, you know, the end of the Misty Valley elf arc that Guts is now in, and also hopefully later down the line, as more of these volume reviews end up coming out, I'll learn more about, you know, the Holy Iron Chain Knights' overall goal, what exactly the Holy See is, what do they want with Guts, what do they mean by if Guts abides to their sort of religion that they keep, you know, what exactly is their overall motive on, you know, following Guts, and what do they want for him? That's what I want to know. So I'm very curious as to what's going to be in store for volume 16 and 17 and the coming volumes to come. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below on what you thought of volume 15 of Berserk. And of course, if you like this video, don't forget to drop a like. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you want to stick up to date to my future content, as well as see more Berserk related content from me on this channel, then please hit that red subscribe button below, and you will never miss a video from me. That about does it for this video, guys. This has been my volume 15 review of Berserk, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.